very pleasant evening to you out there. Many thanks for joining us on another edition of the program National Talk on Equa Television International. My name is Joyce Jakada, and tonight on National Talk we beam our light on the alleged misappropriation of public funds. On Tuesday, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, stepped up its effort to prosecute the ex-governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, and Hadi Sirika, a former Minister of Aviation, for alleged misappropriation of public funds. The ex-Kogi governor, who has been declared wanted by the EFCC, is alleged to have diverted about 80 billion naira from the Kogi treasury. The anti-graft agency is seeking to arraign Bello on 19 counts bordering on alleged money laundering, breach of trust, and misappropriation of funds to the tune of 80.2 billion naira. Similarly, operatives of the anti-graft agency on Tuesday interrogated the former Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, over alleged 8 billion naira Nigeria air fraud. In a chat with journalists on Tuesday, the EFCC chairman, Ola Olukayode, confirmed that the EFCC has been investigating the Aviation and Humanitarian Affairs ministries, saying the probe has not been about only Sirika and Beta Edu, but everything about the two ministries. Recall back in April, the former aviation minister's younger brother, Abubakar Sirika, was arrested by the EFCC operatives over alleged fraud in the ministry. The former aviation minister was accused of conspiracy, abuse of office, diversion of public funds, contracts, inflation, criminal breach of trust, and money laundering, amounting to 8 billion naira. According to the commission, the sum was for 4 aviation contracts from the former minister to a company known as Injurious Nigeria Limited, owned by the younger brother of Sirika. To discuss this alleged misappropriation of public fund, I'm now joined by Barrister D.A. Dalong, Esquire, who is a legal practitioner. Good evening and welcome to National Talk.
Good evening, Joyce. Good evening, viewers.
Well, it feels good to have you join us on National Talk tonight.
I'm glad to be here.
All right, let's start with the issue at hand. The past few weeks has been about Yahaya Bello and the EFCC operatives, and you will recall that sometimes, some years back, there has been this movement about not too young to rule, and a lot of young people were agitating that some of these public offices should be occupied by young people, like enough of having recycling of old people, and people were all out to support young people. And one of the young person that emerged as governor was the former governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, and a lot of people were happy that, wow, Kogi State has a young person ruling as governor. It gave hope to a lot of younger people to even come out and then contest for other political position. But lately, the former governor has been on the media space, but for the wrong reason. And the EFCC have alleged that he has diverted about 80 billion naira from the Kogi State Treasury. A lot of people shared concern about Kogi being a struggling state, and yet such amount of money is being diverted. Though still on allegation, and former Governor Yahaya Bello is yet to show up and even respond to the whole issue. So this has generated a lot of reactions, people asking questions. You will recall last week when the EFCC operatives stormed his residence at Ben Hazard Street, Wuse Zone 4. Some of his party supporters, even the security personnel that were attached to him, tried to obstruct the EFCC from even arresting him. And that also generated concern that people are saying it's just for him to go and answer. So why are people actually stopping the EFCC operative, while other people are saying, no, EFCC are overdoing it? But I would like to get your take, your impression on the outcome, because some people are saying if this is the not too young to rule, if this is the younger generation that we are clamoring for to occupy public offices, and at the end of this, such allegation is being made against them, that means young people are not actually ready to rule. So what impression do you make about this allegation?
Well, basically, the allegations against Yahaya Bello, they are still allegations. And the law presumes Yahaya Bello innocent until proven guilty. Be that as it may, there's nothing special about a young person occupying a public office. There can be young, honest Nigerians, and there can also be old, honest Nigerians. It's about the society. It's about the country where we live in. We all know each other. We know our antecedents. We know our capacity, we know our credibility, and we know our competence. The issue is just about integrity. People that have proven themselves in their various fields of endeavor, people that have a proven integrity should be given public offices to hold. Not because you are young, you should be given an office, or not because you are old, you should not be given an office. Ordinarily, I am a young person, and then I believe young people should be given the opportunity. I could remember the president of France. His pictures were shown when he came to Lagos as a young boy. Buhari was the head of state of Nigeria. He went back and then became the president of France. They were running at the same time. What is the hope for the young people? All politicians have eaten their own quota. They are now eating our own quota, which is very unfortunate. But it is unfortunate that it turns out to be this way, even though the allegations against Yahaya Bello, they are still an allegation until they are proven, until Yahaya Bello is proven guilty, before we can now say it is unfortunate for the people of Kogi to have given Yahaya Bello that opportunity, but he disappointed them.
But doesn't his absence to show up, like his inability to show up at the EFCC headquarters to just respond to some of these questions, does it not send a bad signal? Because the EFCC chairman during the media parley, made mention of the fact that he tried to reach him. There's a document about you here that I actually inherited, and this is the issue on ground if he can show up, but he's nowhere to be found. You recall that last week when the EFCC operative went to his house, it was alleged that the current governor Usman Udodo whisked him away. It's just for it to come and respond to an allegation, but it seems like he doesn't want to show up. Does it not send a bad signal?
You see, everything about this country, sincerely speaking, is drama. From this drama to the other drama to the other drama. Sincerely speaking, it is wrong for you to refuse to honor an invitation by a law enforcement agency. Because whether you like it or not, the long arm of the law will catch up with you.
Sure.
You cannot continue to be in the hiding. You cannot continue to be in the hiding. If there is an allegation against you, you have to appear. But for reasons best known to Yahaya Bello, for failure to honor the invitation, possibly Yahaya Bello could be apprehensive of the fact that he is being witch-hunt, and the entire process is to embarrass him.
Which some of his media
that's what you see.
Said.
It was displayed in Abuja by the civil society organizations. The allegation, the level of very serious allegations about the EFCC, that they are being used as a tool to fight political enemies. That is why, that could be the reason why Yahaya Bello failed to honor the invitation. But whether he likes it or not, if the EFCC is serious, if Nigerian government is serious about fight against corruption, the long arm of the law will definitely catch up with him, because the law is not a respecter of anybody. Everybody is under the law, irrespective of the office he occupied. So he cannot continue to run. But of course, when you see a law enforcement agency passing and you begin to run, it sends a signal.
True.
You understand? So sometimes, of course, it may ring a bells in our minds that since this person is refusing to honor the invitation, maybe he has something off his sleeves, because he's not the first person to be arrested by the EFCC. You remember the former governor of Ekiti State? After his tenure, when he handed over as the governor, In fact, he even printed a T-shirt with an inscription, EFCC, here am I. He went to the EFCC by himself. He went there after his tenure, as at that time, he no longer enjoys any immunity. But he went to the EFCC with an inscription, EFCC, here am I.
I just wonder why a public office holder would refuse to. Like, this is an agency that was set up by the government, and they have the backing of the law. And I'm just wondering why people will not want to honor the invitation. You will recall the case of the former governor of Imo State, Rochas. It was the same scenario that we had, how that the EFCC had to even barge into his house through the roof of the house. And it's really sad. It sent very terrible signal about the country and even our idea of our law. But then a lot of people have raised questions pertaining law and then the court orders that came about, and even the legality of the response or the procedures of the EFCC. People are asking the question, so should the EFCC move to arrest Yahaya Bello even after a court order that's from the Kogi State High Court, restraining the EFCC from arresting? You recall when the whole issue about him showing up, coming to respond, when the whole allegations against him was being made by the EFCC, he rushed to the Kogi State High Court saying that, see, my fundamental human right is about to be infringed upon, my freedom is about to be infringed upon, and he got that order that restrained the EFCC from either arresting or detaining him. But we saw how that the EFCC too, on their part, rushed to the Federal High Court in Abuja and got another order that declared that of Kogi State High Court null and void, and they decided to show up at his residence in Abuja. But do you think that EFCC's move to arrest him, do you see it as legal? Would you say that they actually acted promptly, or they went overboard?
Well, there was an order of court. The law is that when a court has made an order, it is meant to be obeyed, whether right or wrong. Unless and until that order is set aside, it's meant to be obeyed. EFCC was a party in that suit that made the order restraining them from arresting Yahaya Bello. It is unfortunate that EFCC had to go to another court to obtain another order, so that there will be two courts of coordinate jurisdiction. One is given an order restraining the EFCC. The other one is given an order for his arrest. It's unfortunate. It's unthinkable. EFCC ordinarily should have obeyed that order, since it was an interim order pending the hearing and determinations of his originating motions, bordering on issues concerning his fundamental human rights. Why is the EFCC in a hurry to get him arrested? Why is the EFCC in a hurry to prosecute Yahaya Bello? The EFCC should have waited for the court to deliver its ruling on the substantive matter. Or better still, file an appeal against that order. Of course, that is what they did, but subsequently they withdrew that appeal because it was filed out of time. And then, as it stands, that order has been overtaken by event because the court has delivered ruling in the substantive matter. Whatever it is, since the FCC can patiently wait for him, because if they can patiently wait for him to hand over as governor before going after him, I think the FCC should have waited, because you cannot fight illegality with another illegality. Allegations of fraud is illegal in itself, but fighting it through an illegal means is the worst of it, because disobedience of court order, I don't think there is anything that can be worse than, there's only corruption that can be worse than that.
Like you rightly explained, allegation of fraud is criminal. But you see, going to say that your freedom of maybe movement is about to be infringed on, or your fundamental human right, is another whole different thing.
Yes.
Could it be that the EFCC are looking at the fraud being criminal act, and needs prompt action, and that is why they decide
Yes.
to go
If there's an
ahead.
allegation of crime against you, the law must go after you. You will be arrested. But the procedure, the due process of law must be followed. Section 36 of the 1999 Constitution is to the effect that whoever is accused of any criminal offense is presumed innocent until proven guilty. So as it stands, Yahaya Bello is innocent
All right.
until proven otherwise. Therefore, the procedure must be followed. When somebody, except somebody is resisting arrest or he refused to honor an invitation, then the EFCC can go after him with a team of armed policemen.
All right.
Or his arrest.
Let me draw your attention to the case at hand, because as we speak right now, this case is in court.
Yes.
And then the EFCC chairman held a media party that was on Tuesday, and he was, even though being very emotional about the whole issue, because he stated and like brought about a lot of information that some people shared concern that maybe it might work against the case of the EFCC against Yahaya Bello in the future. You will recall that during the media party, he actually disclosed that the embattled former governor allegedly withdrew $720,000 from the government account, and according to him, Bello wired that money to Bureau de Change operator to pay for his child's school fees in advance. And he also said that he actually respected the office of the former governor, and that is why he put a call to him saying, I saw there's a file before me, so can you come so that we can? But Bello like refused, saying that, oh, he cannot come, there are some allegations of somebody trying to embarrass him. Can the EFCC come to his village and come and ask him all of those questions? And in that media party, you could tell that the EFCC is also trying to defend like its own self, because media officers of the former governor have come out to say, no, there was no invitation to the former governor. And in fact, some people have come out to say that he was not even in Abuja. He was actually in the village when the EFCC came, but the EFCC alleged that the current governor of Kogi State actually showed up and whisked him away, who has immunity. But a lot of people are asking if immunity can be transferred if you can come because you have that cover to whisk somebody away. But then, looking at all that that happened during that media, the questioning and even the information he gave, you could tell that they were also responding to the media officers of Bello that were actually trying to accuse the EFCC of going overboard, even though some concerned Nigerians too have said that, oh, EFCC procedures and processes, like they have gone overboard with it, and even the informations that they have actually shared. But as a legal practitioner, I just want to get your take on that media party. Do you think it has a tendency of affecting the EFCC case against ex-governor Yahaya Bello in future?
You see, media trial is unnecessary for this kind of issues. And I believe that ordinarily EFCC shouldn't have organized that media party.
Even amidst the
Yes.
allegations?
Yes, because issues that are already before the court. That was why, before we even started this conversation, I told you that issues like this that are pending in court, sometimes we are very careful to talk about. You understand? That was why I said, Yahaya Bello, as far as the law is concerned, he's innocent. Be that as it may, I will analyze the issues as they are. Media trial is wrong because so many allegations have been leveled against Yahaya Bello during that media party, and Yahaya Bello may not have the opportunity to defend himself through the same channel. And during that media trial, who are the judges? Who are the judges? It's the journalists and the general public. It has a tendency of poisoning the mind of the populace to the extent that tomorrow, if by any chance Yahaya Bello was tried and discharged by the court, you see tongues will be working, people will be saying the judge actually collected money. But you know that there are situations whereby you may have a very good case, but for procedural slips, for the mistake of the lawyer or a witness who is coming to give evidence, you may lose the case. The person who is guilty to all intents and purposes may be discharged. So issues like this are unnecessary. Allow the issue for the court to decide whether Yahaya Bello is guilty or not. It is the court that will decide. Not for him to be discussing it with the media. It has a way of sending a wrong signal in the society. And it appears as if it is a witch hunt. It appears as if it is an attempt to embarrass the former governor.
But he's not the only one that the
EFCC
are going after. There are
yes,
lots of people that...
Yes, but the EFCC should have arraigned him first. The count charges against Yahaya Bello shouldn't have been made public until he has been arraigned. Then the media will now take the news to the public that so person has been arraigned for a particular count charges, bordering on money laundering, abuse of office, breach of trust, and the rest of it. But to go on media, and that the EFCC chairman even vowed that he must make sure Yahaya Bello is prosecuted.
Well, we'll get there, but then let me draw your attention to another case that the EFCC are actually on. You recall that same Tuesday, the operatives of the EFCC actually invited the former aviation minister, talking about Hadi Sirika, over alleged 8 billion naira contract scam. And earlier in the month, his younger brother was actually invited over the same issue. But then a lot of people are already saying it's like EFCC are waking up to its responsibility. You recall that a few weeks ago, the popular Idris, popularly known as Bobrisky, was arrested, and then people were raising their eyebrows, saying, why are you going after this person, that when you have a lot of public officials that are busy diverting public funds, and then you do nothing, you just shy away from it, you cover them because they are in your clique. So we are now seeing the EFCC revisiting files and then coming up with a lot of information that Nigerians are actually still on misappropriation of public fund. Now it is the office of the former Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika. And part of the discovery by EFCC is the fact that they found out that part of the contract was given to the younger brother of the former aviation minister, who is a civil servant on level 18. That's an assistant director, and not just him being a civil servant, but they found out that the company, well, he's actually the MD and the CEO. Abubakar Sirika is actually the MD and the CEO of that particular company, and the sole signatory to the two accounts of that company, domiciled in both Zenith Bank and Union Bank. And the sources from the EFCC said that Sirika awarded that contract to his brother Abubakar, knowing that he's a civil servant, like I said earlier on, and he has been working in that Ministry of Water Resources, since 2000 until date. And the first of the controversial contracts from the former minister to the Injurious Nigeria Limited was on August 18, 2022, and that was for the construction of terminal building in Katsina Airport. And the second was awarded on November 3rd, 2022, for the establishment of fire truck maintenance and refurbishment center in Katsina Airport, and it was valued at 3.8 billion naira. And he said the third contract was on February 3rd, 2023, for the procurement and installment of lifts, air conditioners, and power generators houses in Aviation House Abuja at the cost of 615 million naira, while the fourth was awarded May 5th, 2023, for the procurement of Magnus aircraft and simulator for Nigeria College of Aviation Technology, Zaria, at the cost of 2.2 billion naira. And the source at the EFCC stated that out of the total contract sum, the ex-minister paid out 3.2 billion to his younger brother's Injurious Nigeria Limited, who upon the receipt of the payment transferred it to different companies and individuals, and there is no trace of work done on any of the contract item till date. I mean, what do you make of this allegation? 8 billion naira.
You see, Nigeria as a country, sometimes we have this attitude, lackadaisical attitudes towards public affairs, public offices. You recall that all these contracts were given, I am sure, one way or the other, they would have been in the media. And nobody cares to investigate this company that has been given this contract. Where is he coming from? And who is he? Where is the owner of the company? Where is he coming from, and who is he? These are the issues that ordinarily the EFCC should be up and doing. Not to wait until after how many months. You know, he was a minister under President Buhari. Now, the Buhari left office since May 29, 2023. Now, you see, awarding a contract to your younger brother in itself is illegal. Because there is definitely bound to be a conflict of interest. There are so many Nigerians that can do this work. It must not be your younger brother. Even though all these allegations are still there, they are still allegations. They are yet to be proven otherwise. But it is an abuse of office for you to award a contract of that amount to your blood relation. You dare not award a contract to your blood relation, not to talk of your immediate younger brother. Is unfortunate. And on the issue of the EFCC waking up from its slumber, or the EFCC is now up and doing, you know that the EFCC chairman has just been appointed by this new administration. And then he should be seen doing the work. He should be seen doing the work. But like what you said, some Nigerians are saying, why emphasis on these ones? That there are other cases, other pending cases that have been there, allegation of corruption against so many ex-governors are lying down there, and the EFCC is not doing anything about it. Why this particular one? But I believe that the system is a process. We're getting somewhere. And it is not going to be business as usual. Because Nigerians have this mentality that if you have money, you get away with everything you do that is wrong. They have this mentality. It has now become a Nigerian factor. We are known for doing the wrong thing. But if you are asked, they'll say, are you not a Nigerian? Which is very unfortunate. But the FCC, as an anti-graft agency, I believe that they are in the process of war against corruption, zero tolerance to corruption, and that the ex-minister, if found guilty, will be convicted alongside his younger brother, because it is even criminal for you as a civil servant, an assistant director, level 16, and then you are at the same time the managing director of a limited liability company. That itself is criminal.
And you know, it just speaks to our culture of lack of holding our leaders accountable. When you look at all these allegations of fraud, misappropriation, diversion of public funds, you begin to ask how one person can achieve this without other people helping out. And you can also, it also speaks to the fact that when leaders say, oh, we are going to do this project, or we are going to begin this project, we don't follow up, we don't ask questions. It's just about, oh, my person is there, so it is your time to cut your share of the national cake. Like, people don't care, he's a criminal, so let him be. And that just takes me to the next question, which I touched on earlier on, how that even when the EFCC operative showed up at the residence of Yahaya Bello, former governor of Kogi State, a lot of party supporters, whom some of them, like, are from Kogi State, like, are not saying, okay, former governor, can you come and respond to the allegation? We actually know you are a responsible man. We know you cannot do. They are just alleging, come and respond to this. But they are trying, no. Like, in fact, they were chanting, saying a lot of things about how that the EFCC cannot just come arrest Yahaya Bello. It was more of nobody is even asking question. Okay, can you just go and respond to this? But oh, it is winch on. 2 days ago, he visited the president, and after that, EFCC are coming. It is apparently winch hunt. Some are saying, oh, because maybe he wants an appointment, or the next meeting probably of APC is going to be coming up soon, and he is probably showing interest for a political position, and that is why they are actually winch hunting him. Apart from the party supporters, apart from his loyalists, we also saw civil society organizations coming out to protest, to fault the EFCC procedures and every other thing, saying, oh, they are going overboard and all. Some lawyers are also alleged to be paid to defend Bello. Someone like alleged that, oh, he was called upon to say, do you know some lawyers that can be paid to defend the former governor, Yahaya Bello? And it just sent a very negative signal about how that we don't care about good governance. Like in all of this, people are more bothered. If you're a patriotic citizen, you want, okay, it's an allegation, show up, answer the question. If the court, if you are being invited to show up and then just respond to the question. But why stop him? Why chant and say all manner of things, stopping the security operative, the anti-graft agency from actually taking up their responsibilities? This is another perspective on all this issue. But I would like to get your thoughts on the position of the civil society organization faulting the EFCC, on the supporters being defensive, protecting the former governor from being interrogated, as well as even the present governor of Kogi State, Usman Ododo, who was alleged to weeks like the former governor away.
Well, you see, the one that caught my attention is the fact that you said some lawyers are involved. If it is something that
you know, the NBC,
if it is something that those lawyers can be fished out, I can assure you that they will be dropped, because you don't go on media and defend issues like that as a lawyer. The EFCC may have their lapses in terms of their procedure, but it doesn't stop them from doing their job as an anti-graft agency. You see, I noticed something lately in this country that when it is your own, whatever he does is right. Since the person is your ally, is your tribal person, you know, you have one thing or the other to do with the person, or you are benefiting financially or otherwise from the person. Whatever he does is right. The other way around, when the person is your own, even if he's not your own, even if he is doing the right thing, you will be castigating him. This person is this person is that. Even when you see that the person is doing very well. And some of these things are responsible for the condition of the country, as it were. These are the reasons why we are where we are today. The country cannot develop because of sentiments. These issues of the man should not be arrested, it is a witch hunt, it is sentiment. And the law doesn't work on a sentiment. The law works on cold facts, not sentiment. Kogi, a very small state like Kogi, and then we're talking about 80 billion. You can imagine what 80 billion can do in Kogi. But a Kogi man will now say, this man should not be arrested. They have left the substance and they are chasing shadows. Whatever it is, whatever the procedure adopted by the EFCC for the arrest of Yahaya Bello, let him appear first. Deny the allegations. They will go to court. Yahaya Bello will be given the opportunity to hire the lawyer, any lawyer of his choice, to defend him. At the end of the day, if he's innocent, he will be exonerated. The court will discharge and acquit him. But for somebody to go on the media, I heard that some of them even held a protest in Abuja about Yahaya Bello. You know, this reminds me of about what happened in 2000 and when was this? NSAS?
2020.
NSAS 2020. They were doing NSAS. The protesters were protesting. some groups of youths. Who sponsored them, I don't know. But from nowhere, they came and they were attacking the protesters. And then they came in form of another protest. So it is protest and counter-protest. And by the time you look at some of these youths that does this kind of dastardly act, you discover that some of them hardly eat 3 square meals. But because of some peanuts, they will give him, they will now took to the streets and start shouting, we don't go agree, we don't go agree. Meanwhile, you know that this thing that has happened has a very serious adverse effect on your state. In my own candid opinion, those outcry are unnecessary. The law is there. If the EFCC follow any illegal procedure, you have the right to challenge the procedure in court. Because even if you are accused of commission of any alleged offense, you can, even if at the end of the day you are found guilty, it does not stop you from enforcing your fundamental rights. Because if in the process of arresting and prosecution and your fundamental right is trampled upon, the law says you can go to court and enforce it. And it is unfortunate that sometimes people will rush to court to get an order. First of all, the originating motions filed by Yahaya Bello was preemptive, that his fundamental right might be infringed upon, which ordinarily he was not arrested. Mind you, he was not arrested. They just invited him and then he rushed to court. Of course, that was the right thing. It is the law. Section 46 says if you feel your right is about to be violated, you can go to court and seek redress. You understand?
And that's why some people are saying probably the court, the order restraining his arrest was on the basis because he has the right to do that.
But you see, the court that gave that order was the High Court sitting in Kogi. And the way the system works, when a High Court has given a judgment, you have the right of appeal from the Court of Appeal. I mean, from the High Court to the Court of Appeal, from the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court. If you think the person was favored before Kogi High Court by giving that order, fine. It is a law that says, it is the Constitution that says, when the High Court has given judgment, you have the right to appeal to the Court of Appeal. You have the right to appeal up to the Supreme Court.
I mean, whether the EFCC go overboard or not, the right thing to do as far as patriotic or patriotism is concerned is just to honor that invitation.
To honor the invitation.
Just on Tuesday, we saw how the former aviation minister was invited and he honored the invitation. He was pleased that, but he honored actually the invitation. So that's just what every patriotic Nigerian expects that Yahaya Bello just honor the invitation, answer all the questions that you need to, rather than just hiding.
In these circumstances, Nigerians, there's this mentality some Nigerians have, is that, he called himself a white lion. And he believes that somebody like him should not be arrested.
Some Nigerians think they are above the law.
Yes, they believe that they are above the law. And then in their small mind thinking that, somebody said that apart from God, that government is, that apart from God is government on earth. So no matter how powerful you are, no matter how strong you are, you cannot be more powerful than Nigerian government, whether you like it or not. Because Nigerian government have the capacity, even because I had some people are saying that he was trying to run away from the country. Nnamdi Kanu was arrested in which country? Was it Nigeria he was arrested?
I know.
They picked him using Interpol to pick him from that country he was, and he was brought back to Nigeria. And right now he's standing trial.
I mean, the whole
you
drama
understand?
is just
so it is unnecessary, like I said earlier. Everything about Nigeria is drama. And at the end of the day, you will see some of these things may even fizzle out. And then sometimes it will die naturally, because there are a lot of these corruption allegations against so many ex-governors.
You rob my bag, I rob your bag.
That are not being prosecuted. The one that baffles me is the one of Danjuma Goje, who was standing trial before the former governor of Gombe State, who was standing trial before the High Court here in Jos. Do you know that when Danjuma Goje, he was a senator, and do you know that when he indicated interest in becoming the Senate president, do you know that that case was negotiated? And the former Attorney General of the Federation came and entered the nolly prosecute. That's what we call nolly prosecute. You discontinue any criminal proceedings against anybody. And then the law says, the Constitution says, nobody can ask you any questions. You don't have to even tell the court the reason why you're continuing the case.
That's quite unfortunate.
Yes, that's the other power that is given to the Attorney General by the Constitution. You can enter nolly any case that's pending. And that was how Danjuma Goje's case just ended. But I can assure you that it is a criminal case. He was not discharged and acquitted. And something may happen today or tomorrow, and that case may be revisited.
Okay, let's talk about the position of the EFCC chairman. You see, during the media parley, he sounded really resilient about the prosecuting former governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, and the chairman of the anti-graft agency, Ola Olukayode, on Tuesday vowed that he must follow up with that case and ensure that the prosecution is brought to a logical conclusion. And he also vowed that he would resign as EFCC chairman if the ex-governor is not prosecuted. It looks he came with all force, with all power, resilience, and ready to fight all the criminals in the system. But what do you make of the position of the EFCC chairman?
That one sounds personal. You understand? It sounds personal because as the EFCC chairman, he has a mandate. You understand? And as Nigerians, we don't have to be reminded that he must do this, he must do that, he must do that. After all, he has given Yahaya Bello some special treatment. After all, which means that he has violated some of their protocols. But for him to say he must, it sounds, he was a little bit emotional about it. And I heard he said he's a lawyer. And as a lawyer, it is unprofessional because you don't take the case you're handling, any case you're handling, you don't take it personal. You try as much as possible to detach your emotions from any case you're handling. You know, when I was called to bar, I serve in Calabar, and my principal partner then would always send me to police station. And at some point, I was wondering, can I do this job? Some of the clients are very poor, and then my boss would be asking me to collect money from them, and then I had these feelings. You know, I have these feelings for them. And I was saying, these things, can I do it? How can I even charge them when I start this work? Because some of them, if some of the money they brought to me, 5 naira, 10 naira, they have to, you see how somebody suffered to gather some money to give you. You understand? So sometimes, some of these things, you detach, and as time goes on, I was able to detach my emotion completely from any case I'm handling.
I think that is also applicable to every profession because you need to be in charge.
Because you don't have to say you are going to resign. If you say you are going to resign, then it means that it is personal.
All right.
Because I know that there is no any court of law. There is no any court of law in Nigeria that will shield a criminal. There is no any court of law in Nigeria that will frustrate the prosecution of anybody who is accused of committing an offense. There is none in this country.
All right, let's talk. Sorry to cut you there. I want to bring your attention to the issue of the former CBN governor, talking about Godwin Emefiele, and he's still on the corrupt practices or misappropriation or fraud allegations still by the EFCC, and there is currently a fresh charges against the ex-CBN governor Godwin Emefiele, marking the beginning of the third fraud and corruption case filed against him by the EFCC. And the EFCC is saying that he will be arraigned on the 30th of April before Justice Mariam of the Federal High Court in Abuja. And this time it is on approving the printing of 684.5 million naira notes at the rate of 18.96 billion naira, and also unlawfully approving the withdrawal of 124.8 billion naira from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation. I just want to give a recap of some of the charges against him. First, you recall on November 17, 2023, Emefiele was arraigned before Justice Hamza Muazu on 6-count charge of procurement fraud, to which he pleaded not guilty. He was also accused of approving a contract for the acquisition of 43 vehicles totaling 1.2 billion from 2018 to 2020. And on April 8, 2024, the EFCC also arraigned the former banker alongside one Henry Omoile before Justice Rahman Oshodi of the Special Offences Court sitting in Ikeja, Lagos, for alleged $4.5 billion and 2.8 billion naira fraud, which he pleaded not guilty to the charge. And then the new charge hinged on disobedience to the direction of law with intent to cause injury to public, which is punishable by Section 123 of the Penal Code Law, Cap 89, laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And again, another round of corruption and then fraud case filed against ex-CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele. Like, this has been the trajectory, like, since November 17, 2023. Earlier on, we had a bail granted to him of 50 million naira.
200
million naira. And then now, another fresh charges again against him. And by 30th April, he's supposed to appear in the court. And that just draws my attention to 2020, where the reps member, talking about Mohammed Budaji Kazori, that's the member representing Kazori, Roni, and Wiwa constituency of Jigawa, came up with the revelation about alleged 89 trillion naira fraud by the CBN governor as stamp duty. And you recall that at that sitting, he was actually attacked. That was in 2020, December 2022. He was actually attacked by APC members for exposing the CBN governor. And we also had civil society organization under the umbrella of the Civil Society Organization for Good Governance protesting. And it was headed by the Etuk Basi, who was the president of that coalition of civil society organization for good governance. They came to the National Assembly protesting that Kazore be removed because he was trying to stain the white of the former CBN governor. He was trying to do all he can to make sure that he's been removed. And they came saying that he should be arrested and all. So now we've been seeing from one charges to the other. But before I get your reaction on this particular issue, I would like us to actually revisit the video that what played out at the House of Reps. And we need to give credit to Channels Television because that video was gotten from there. Let's watch.
About a week ago, from different groups in this country, which we concluded yesterday, which I supposed to come and do a public press conference about the matters, because we are in the government of change and we are expecting to go to the next level, because we campaign to the Nigerian masses as we are heading to next level. But from the beginning of the appointment, many of the people that are together with the president, they begin surprised, because the appointment of the CBN governor, Emefiele, surprised many of us. So majority of the groups, President Muhammadu Buhari Campaign Organization and the others, and the many groups that we believe he is the man of integrity, and we believe he is fighting corruption, and we believe this next level we are going with the people of integrity. We surprise for the president that he reappoint the CBN governor Emefiele, because if we can remember in this country, many things happened about the CBN governor, more especially during the Goodluck Ebele Jonathan administration. Now we are accusing Dasuki, we are accusing Dizani, we are accusing many people. And Nenadi Usman and the others. All this money that they have been accused by EFCC is being released through central bank. And what we surprise is we are expecting as the president come meet Emefiele, he favored Emefiele, allowed him to finish his 5 years. So we're supposed to look for a reliable person who will reform the economic of this country. Because if we can remember, we are with the government and we believe the president is a man of integrity. We believe this type of appointment, what I assume is some people go and tell the president something that is not true. And he believe in what the people say, because maybe the people that came and briefed him, he trusts them. Because if he trusts you, he trusts you. But because I am assured with the things that happen in this country through the CBN, with many things that happen, we are not expecting the president to appoint Emefiele to continue as CBN governor. About a week ago, from different groups in this.
Member Gudaji Kazore, who back then in 2022 was actually raising concern about the reappointment of Godwin Emefiele for another 4 years, saying that a lot of corrupt practices took place under him, and he was alleging that sharing concern of how he should not be allowed, since President Muhammadu Buhari is the man of integrity and he came with the anti-corruption fight, and then these are the things that have happened under the ex-CBN governor Godwin Emefiele. He should not be reappointed. But a lot of people, that suggestion or that allegation was meted with a lot of condemnation. In fact, the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, said he dismissed the claim and he described it as mere imagination, because they said, oh, Godwin Emefiele is a man of integrity and all of that. But what sense do you make of this country's anti-corruption fight and vis-a-vis our attitude of shielding and shying away from prosecuting perpetrators?
Well, you see, this Gudaji Kazawe is a man, I do watch some of his submissions, both outside and on the floor of the House of Representatives. He is among the honorable members that do speak up. Despite the fact that sometimes he mixes some of his stances, but anytime he speaks, it makes a lot of sense. And as it stands today, Gudaji Kazore has been vindicated. What he said earlier, that was termed an imagination, has now is resurfacing. It's revealing, even though those are still allegations, but from the allegations, you all know that there's something that is wrong.
In fact, he made mention in one of his interviews how that some of the policy of Emefiele is meant to impoverish the people, like it's at the detriment of the poor. He made reference also to the Naira swap policy and all of that.
You see, that Naira swap of a thing affected every Nigerian.
True. Some people died.
Because it was unthinkable. And you know what is obtainable in this country is that we Nigerians, we tolerate so many nonsense. We tolerate so many nonsense. But when he came up with a policy, it stands. If not for the intervention of Nasir El-Rufai and some governors that went to court to challenge it, nobody was willing to go against it. And it was unthinkable that Nigeria as a country, you are going to enforce a cashless policy. Like if you go to my village, for example, in the village, the market in my village, they transact business of millions, hundreds of millions on that market day, and all the transactions are done cash. The villagers, the farmers, somebody can bring Irish potatoes worth 1 million, 2 million naira. He doesn't have a bank account. The person doesn't have a bank account. He is not educated. He doesn't have a bank account. So how do you pay him? Some small business owners, because there was no cash for people to come and buy their things. They don't have an account. Some people were out of business. And then about the issue of his reappointment, you see, these are some of the major challenges we have in this country. And no matter what, no matter how corrupt an individual is, if he has been certified by his master, he will be appointed, irrespective of your antecedents. Like what the man rightly said, there were allegations of corruptions, which some of the money were released from central bank. But yet, Buhari, who is a man of integrity, went ahead and reappointed that man as the CBN governor. And Gudaji Kazore, who was an APC chieftain, that didn't go down well with him, because he knows Buhari as a man of integrity. And as far as he is concerned, there was not integrity at play, because all these issues were in the public domain, which ordinarily Buhari should have known that this man should not be given the opportunity. But of course, they went against those complaints, agitations, and he was appointed. Look at the way and manner the naira crashed against the dollar. Look at where we are today. How can how on 8, somebody use 18 billion to print? The money is not even up to 1 billion.
Sure.
You use 18.20 billion to print, not up to 1 billion. I was shocked that when they said they should reverse the policy, the central bank said that they have bought all nairas. And I'm surprised that if you see the nairas are now in circulation. Is it that the nairas were born and then they resurrected?
So again,
I don't understand.
Well, you see, this just raised the question of integrity of the kind of people we actually appoint into offices, because you begin to ask, do these people have antecedents and pedigree? On what ground were they appointed? Is it on the basis of party loyalist, or is it on the basis of this person has been on my camp, or this is the person that can actually lick my boots? Like a lot of questions that, because public office holders, look at what we are talking about, alleged 80 billion naira, alleged 8 billion naira, and then the average Nigeria is struggling to feed 3 square meal a day. I mean,
you know, one of my lecturer back then in the university, Professor Namdi Aduba, he described a political party as a gang. You understand? And he told us that if you look at the meaning of a gang means a group of criminals. You understand? So that the political parties are, as far as he's concerned, they are not political parties. They are just a gang. You understand? So, and then what is that? A gang, the meaning of a gang is a group of criminals, or a group of people coming together to commit a crime. No, a group of people coming together to commit a crime. So he said, the political parties in Nigeria, what is their aim? They come together, and what is their aim? Is to loot the treasure. That's why he said it is there. They said, when you mention political, he said we don't have any political party in Nigeria. What we have in Nigeria is a gang, not a political party. So you see, sometimes, unless and until there is orientation and reorientation, and sometimes when I look at some of these things, I don't know where people intend to take this money to. Keep on amassing wealth, keep on amassing. You will see that somebody, like the former accountant general, his allegation was about 100 and how many billions? I think that's the highest I've had in this country, that an individual. That's the highest I've had that an individual stole from government. It's
just quite unfortunate.
You understand? So there should be orientation and reorientation about the public offices. It appears as if it is about payback. How you pay back your party loyalists. And then at the end of the day, you see somebody who will serve as a governor for 8 years, he comes out and there's nothing to show. And the problem he has, instead of appointing people of integrity to get the government working, he will choose to toe the line of appointing his political allies. And at the end of the day, you serve for 4 years, you serve for another 4 years, you have nothing to show. But if the politicians will screen the people, make sure they bring people of integrity on board, I can assure you that this country will work. And fundamentally, about Nigeria as a country, I can assure you, I can say this with a degree of confidence, without any fear or favor, that 70% 70% of Nigerian revenue goes into the private pocket.
It's just quite unfortunate.
Very unfortunate.
Thank you so much, Barrister D.A. Dalong, for creating time to speak with us. Great analysis. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I've actually come to the end of the show because our time is fast spent. And to our viewers out there, thank you so much for joining us on today's edition of National Talk. Do remember that it is our collective responsibility to get Nigeria working again, and we can do that by holding our leaders accountable, especially as regard the provisions of their responsibility in their public offices. We can do that by asking questions and following up with projects that they have actually said they are going to do, because democracy is a theory that the common people know what they want and deserve to get it real good and hard. Until we come your way next week, my name is Joyce Jakada.